Over the last several segments, we've been talking quite a bit about different ways to be a great mobilizer. One of the greatest ways to be a mobilizer is the one we're going to discuss in this segment, and that is the idea of planning and recruiting people to go on a short-term missions trip. In fact, quite frequently when people talk about mobilization in missions efforts, one of the first things people talk about is short-term mission trips. And they really are a great way to be effective in mobilization. Now, there's a lot of different ways to do short-term mission trips. And currently in North America, there's sort of a segment of evangelicals that are promoting the idea that we should stop doing short-term mission trips because in many cases they can be terribly ineffective. They can be a big waste of money, waste of time, waste of resources, waste of energy, and in some cases they can even tragically do more harm than good. I do believe this is the case, that many short-term trips are actually more detrimental than they are helpful. However, I don't think that means we should throw away all short-term mission trips. Let me just quickly give you two resources I'd encourage you to check out to be very effective in short-term mission trip planning. Number one is a phenomenal book and curriculum called When Helping Hurts. It's a curriculum written by several missiologists talking about the idea that there are times that we seek to help people, but in the end, we actually end up hurting them. There is a book with this, there are several workbooks, there are small group studies, there are videos, DVDs, and the organization that developed this curriculum actually has various seminars and workshops they do all across North America. I would encourage you to Google that, When Helping Hurts. It's a fantastic resource. It will help you to plan missions efforts that are actually very helpful and not harmful. The second resource that I'd like to recommend is an online enrichment course that we have here at Bethany Global University's website that I had the privilege of teaching. You can check out that will teach you how to effectively lead and plan a short-term mission trip experience. That'll give you all the things you want to do when you are planning a trip, when you are leading a team overseas. Now, as you are going through the online enrichment course on leading short-term mission trips, and as you are reading the book When Helping Hurts, you're going to learn a lot about how to be effective in short-term missions. And I would encourage you to do is to plan a short-term trip sooner rather than later. Don't wait, do it. If you're going to be a great mobilizer, one of the things you want to be doing is getting people on the mission field in short-term mission trip experiences because it'll give them an incredible taste of what is it like to do cross-cultural missions. It'll give people an appetite for focusing on global outreach and global evangelism. And the reality is that anywhere between 70 and 90% of all long-term workers, whenever they are surveyed, depending on what survey you're looking at, they will say that going on a short-term trip was the number one thing that caused them to want to go overseas long-term. Between 70 and 90% of all long-term workers will say that a short-term trip was the impetus for them wanting to be involved in global missions for the rest of their life. As a mobilizer, if you take people on short-term trips and you make sure they are effective, you have the opportunity to revolutionize people's lives, to transform how they view the world, how they view the gospel, and you just might be a part of God holding their heart and leading them overseas. If you don't know how to do this well, feel free to reach out to our missions department, Bethany Gateways. We actually love to help facilitate short-term mission trips. Bethany Gateways is the mission agency here at Bethany International. We do this regularly. I'll give you an example. There was a college student about a year and a half ago who came to me, her name was Lydia, and said, "Kenny, I would love to go on a short-term mission trip." She said to me, "I'm a nursing student, and I'd love for me and some of my fellow nursing students to go overseas and utilize our medical skills and medical training on a mission trip." And I said, "Great, Lydia, you recruit your friends, you inspire them to go, I'll plan the trip for you." And Lydia and I worked together to co-lead a mission trip overseas. Lydia was the mobilizer. I was just facilitating the logistics, helping make things happen. Lydia was the one who was recruiting her friends, getting them excited, leading fundraisers, doing car washes, keeping her friends accountable to making sure they were doing the homework assignments to prepare to go overseas. And in the summer of 2017, we went to the nation of Paraguay and we did incredible gospel ministry for 2.5 weeks, largely because a 22-year-old college student gathered her friends and mobilized them to go on a short-term mission trip experience. That, my friends, has the power to transform lives and completely shift the trajectory of many people's eternities. One other quick item I would mention to you, while you were on a short-term mission trip experience, what I always like to do is give sort of a State of the Union address. While I'm on a short-term trip, I usually take one evening out, usually about halfway through the trip, where I pull my team in and I begin to explain to them all the things going on around the world. I begin to explain to them all the different types of mission efforts, where we're doing well and where we are not doing so well. I want to explain to them all the different types of things that are happening. I want to explain to them the trends. I want to give them all the different stats, some of the information that I've given you here throughout the segments of this online course. I want people to know what's going on and what they can do. When people are on a mission trip, they are typically far more open to listening to challenges and messages that would inspire them to get involved. So you want to seize the opportunity. You want to mobilize them while they're on a short-term trip to think about how to get involved when they get home. In fact, on short-term trips, nearly every single day, whenever I'm dialoguing with my team and I'm debriefing with my team, I'm always asking them this question: what did you learn today, and how can you take it home with you? What are you learning here? What is God doing in you here, in your heart, in your mind, in your life, here on this mission trip that you can then take with you home and be different? How can you be a mobilizer based on what you've learned here on this short-term mission trip experience? I want to seize the moment and inspire people to get involved. Planning a short-term mission trip, ensuring that it is effective and helpful, that it propagates an incredible local strategy in whatever culture you're being a part of, and recruiting people to go on that trip and making sure that you utilize it as the means to propagating the idea of long-term missions can be one of the most effective means of mobilizing people into global evangelism. If you want to be a great mobilizer, make sure that you start leading and planning great short-term mission trips. God will use it in a profound way. In the next segment, we're going to talk extensively about engaging with international students, immigrants, and refugees.